Hi, I'm Jeff Tobe and I am Coloring Outside the Lines. There are two words in customer experience that are very, very dangerous. Those two words are complaints and dissatisfaction. Here's why. Every time you interact with the customer is an opportunity to make an emotional impression. Each time your customer sees your marketing, contacts your business, visits your website, reads your social media posts, talks to you or your team, is an emotional window of opportunity. Some emotional windows of opportunity are more powerful than others, and they can lead to the near instantaneous loss of profits and progress in your organization if they're not handled correctly. Ask yourself, which emotional windows of opportunity are most powerful to your customer in regards to their experience using your products, programs, and/or services? And consider for a moment, how do people bond with each other and get attention? Well, we bond by telling each other stories. And since your customers are going to be telling stories anyway, give them stories that help them get attention, impress their friends, and feel important. I'll tell you an interesting story about emotional windows of opportunity and that bond I'm talking about. About 20 years ago, I was shopping for a new car. I walked into a local Honda dealership expecting what we all expect, the stereotypical car salesperson. As I walked in the door, my stereotype was completely shattered because a woman approached me. Now, I'm not trying to be sexist, but in those days it was incredibly unusual to encounter a female car salesperson. But she didn't let me down. What are the first words out of any salesperson's mouth in a retail situation? Can I help you? It's like getting your swords out. Can I help you? No. Can I show you something? Nothing. When I told her I was just looking, she replied, "Step into my office." I'm not even through the door yet, and she's ordering me into her office. As I turned to walk away, I glanced over my shoulder, and she had quickly gone to the back door of a brand new Honda Accord, gotten into the back seat, and with a big smile on her face now, through two open doors, looked at me and said, "Step into my office." I was there in a flash. And as I got into the back seat of the car with this woman, she asked me to look at the car from my children's perspective who would be in the back seat. Wow! She talked about safety features and other amenities. Needless to say, I bought the car. I continued to buy all of our cars from Sharon, the woman in the back seat, for over 20 years. Why? Because she took advantage of an emotional window of opportunity, knowing I had children and was concerned about safety. And she created a bond that has lasted for over 2 decades. People are more than willing to pay for the experience if it's unique, personalized, and responsive. Consider these two important questions. 1. When was the last time you considered the experience that your clients have with you each time they interact with your organization? And 2, what's the experience of every touch point you have with your customer? To start to make a shift from service to experience, begin by examining those touch points and see the world through their eyes, not yours. Imagine your ideal customer experience as an orchard, and the people who are ready to buy right now and enjoy those ideal customer experiences with you, that's the fruit that's the lowest hanging on the tree. And that fruit is ripe. So, most people are creating customer experiences right now and with short game focus, just trying to get them to buy today and today only. It's picking the lowest fruit on the tree. The people who are winning right now in creating ideal customer experiences are the ones who are playing a much longer term game. They're taking a longer view of it and they're doing what I call planting. So, instead of trying to pick all the fruit off the trees, they understand that a big percentage of that marketplace isn't ready to buy today. But they're going to be ready to buy in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or sometime in the future. So when I refer to something as planting, and I talk about people who are planting and winning, it's about those people who are giving previews of the ideal customer experiences that are designed to build a bond with that huge segment of that market that's not ready to buy right now, or enjoy the ideal customer experience with you right now. But they're going to be ready to buy in the very near future. If you think of some of the biggest companies in the world, this is their strategy. Imagine all the money that companies like Apple put into announcing that a new product or service is coming. If you're focusing on customer experience for today and today only, and your attention is primarily designed to pick the fruit off the tree today, which, by the way, prevents you from planting new seeds, you're probably noticing it's getting hard for you to retain your existing customers and acquire new ones. The reason why is because that's what everybody else is doing. The good news is that the money is not in the fruit. The money is in cultivating that orchard that no one is paying attention to. So, to close the metaphor, that prospect who has been seeing previews from you about your ideal customer experiences, who's been having that relationship with your organization, who's been nurtured over time, when it comes to making a choice, who are they going to choose? They're going to choose you, especially if they're used to seeing you in that market space. They see an invitation from you that makes the right ideal customer experience offer at the perfect time. So, the questions are these. First, what do you do to cultivate that relationship? And what's a good strategic way to do it? Well, I'm going to walk you through an exercise using a strategic way to reduce the number of complaints and decrease your customer, member, patient dissatisfaction, while at the same time create and map out your ideal customer experiences. Here's what I'd like you to do. Grab a piece of paper and a pen. I want you to make several columns on this piece of paper, and I'll walk you through them. Your first column is going to be labeled How to Wow Customers. See, a wow experience means examining what your customer is expecting to have happen during a buying experience with you, and then asking yourself, what would go beyond those expectations? What would be a wow experience for them from their perspective? To the point where they would actually call their friends to tell them or post on social media. In this first column, I want you to just take a minute and write down all the ways you have wowed your customers. You just want to list everything that comes to mind, from the things you might already have considered to the outrageous. Everything that you can think of, just put it down in that first column called How to Wow Your Customers. Now let's go to the second column. Label that Don't Lose Momentum. Take a bit of extra time to make sure your customer is getting the most from your product or service. In the second column, write down all the ways you keep up your momentum. What is one thing you could do right after the customer buys from you that would get them engaged with you or your product faster and better? How could you test it out immediately with your next customer? How can you keep up the momentum after every customer buys from you in the future? On to column 3. We'll call it emotional touch points. This means, what are the key points during purchase and use of your product or service when your customer is experiencing the highest level of emotion? What are the emotions that they are feeling, and why are they feeling those emotions specifically? What would be a dream or fantasy for your customer during each one of these emotional experiences? The fourth column is labeled Design Your Customer's Experience. Let's define what customer experience is. Customer experience is about considering your customer's experiences from the minute they make contact with your organization until the minute they're done. This involves so many more people than just you. I call it the end-to-end experience. Plan out a minimum of 5 steps of your customer's experience with you and your product or service, from the first time they learn about you until they refer other people. Write the script for your customer's experience with you from their perspective, in their words. Make sure there is surprise, delight, and relief in each step for your customer. A positive emotional experience and a bond. You see, bonding done with the intention of actually creating a really important relationship between your organization and the customer is really built on a couple of pillars. The first is affinity. That means this person is going to look at you and they're going to come up to one of these conclusions. They're going to say, that person is just like me, meaning you have similar backgrounds. You could also have similar beliefs or philosophy. Affinity is a fancy way of saying you're kind of just like them. Another category or pillar of affinity would be something super basic like belonging to the same organization or even being fans of the same band or sports team. I think you get the point. That's one way to create a bond with somebody on a very superficial level. The second pillar or part of bonding is really built on the amount of value you create for that customer or prospect specifically. The amount of goodwill that's created by that value that you instill in your organization and into your ideal customer audience. Those two are the biggest pillars.
So now the questions become, how do you actually do it? And how do you put this all into practice? It's really pretty simple. I believe that there are 4 critical components here. First is creative and innovative thinking. How do we look at what we do from a new perspective? Second is applying that thinking to the customer experience and understanding how to go beyond customer or patient experience. Next is about employee engagement. The more engaged our people are internally, the better the experience externally. Finally, we look at effective leadership. None of this works if you don't have the right leaders at the right levels of the organization. In my high energy, high content, and high fun keynotes, workshops, or long-term trainings, I walk attendees through a series of questions to ask your team when it comes to change. Customer experience is about change. I also give your people an exercise that they can take home to their team or the entire organization to be more engaged at what they do every day. The bottom line is this. If we know that someone is going to be ready to enjoy an ideal customer experience with us, we need to ask ourselves a series of sequential questions.
Number 1, who is the perfect prospect for us? Who is the ideal customer that we want? 2, what do they want? And that's really a way to lead into finding a way that we can demonstrate we can help them by actually helping them. And then we go a little deeper. What are they frustrated with within the context of what it is we have to offer? And number 4, what are the emotions that they're experiencing with that frustration? And then here's the big one, number 5. What do we need to demonstrate to be true while they are in this phase so when it comes time for them to enjoy the ideal customer experiences with us, they'll know that we are the best decision. So when it is time for them to make that decision, knowing they're going to choose somebody, what must we demonstrate to be true in order for them to choose us? When we have all this, we wrap up the keynote or workshop with me prescribing a direct course of action to help you and your people achieve the best results in the fastest, the most efficient, and the least stressful way possible. I give a prescription dialed in to how to focus on going beyond service to the customer, member, patient experience. I realize it has to be in the most effective and shortest amount of time possible, and you have to be able to get the best results for your perfect customers with their ideal experiences they have with you and your organization. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this video. I really hope that some of the strategies and tactics that I'm sharing with you will have an impact in your business or your organization right away. And if you feel like these are the types of strategies and tactics that can really move the needle for you and your people, and if you'd like some help going deeper into the topics we talked about, and if it sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and email me directly at jeff@jefftobe.com. That's jeff@jefftobe.com. When you do, I'll simply email you more details. Then we can set up a time to get on the phone, and if that sounds good, we can work together with my keynote, workshop, or long-term training. After the presentation, I'm available to help you implement some of the ideas and strategies that come up while we're working together, and you can just email me your questions. I'll be happy to reply with answers to help you move forward. Until then, I hope you have really good results implementing some of the things I'm giving you in this video. I look forward to seeing you soon, and until then, keep coloring outside the lines.